Hello, welcome to a European Open briefing for Friday, September the 14th. I'm Rafi Bayajan, currency analyst at xm.com, and we're going to be taking a look at what's happening in the currency markets today. So the week looks set to end on a positive note. We can see that Asian equities closed mostly higher, and we do have a positive start in Europe as well. We also saw a strong close on Wall Street overnight. So this comes on the back of those reports yesterday that the US and China could be headed towards fresh talks on trade, though there wasn't that much optimism surrounding that, but nevertheless, that was the first positive development in quite a while. We're also seeing easing tensions in emerging markets. This comes after Turkey's central bank raised interest rates much more than expected and boosted the Turkish lira. And also we saw weaker than expected inflation numbers out of the US yesterday, and that led to a pullback in the US dollar. We can see the dollar index currently trading around 94.40. That's well below the 95 level, which it was trading above not that long ago. But we can see against the Japanese yen, the dollar in fact rose yesterday. It's slightly weaker this morning, around 111.80. It briefly touched the 112 level, as the Japanese yen is also in the retreat, as we see improving risk appetite. If you look at European currencies, though, we can see both the euro and the pound benefiting from the weaker dollar. But in addition to that, the euro did get a boost. Slightly from comments by ECB President Mario Draghi yesterday at the press conference after the ECB meeting, where he sounded much more confident about the strength of the Eurozone economy than had been anticipated. And for the pound, there seems to be progress being made on resolving the Northern Irish border issue, and that brings a Brexit deal between the UK and the EU much closer. The Canadian dollar benefiting also from the its weaker US counterpart. USD CAD is fallen below the 1.30 level, currently trading around 1.2987, and NAFTA talks are ongoing, so that's also supporting the loonie. The Australian dollar is one of the biggest gainers since yesterday. It's currently extending its gains up by 0.3% against the US dollar. It's recovered back up above the 0.72 level. That's mainly on the back of that easing trade tensions, as well as we did see upbeat employment numbers out of Australia yesterday as well. So if you take a closer look at the main performers, commodities benefiting from the weaker dollar. Kiwi dollar also posting a rebound, followed by a euro and Aussie dollar. At the bottom, we've got dollar, Swiss franc, and the dollar index. So taking a look now at what's happening with the dollar yen pair, we can see it briefly touched the 112 level. So the dollar yen has touched 6 weeks highs, while the dollar index has touched 6-week lows. Yesterday we saw US inflation falling to 2.7% year on year in August from the prior 2.9%. The core rate fell from 2.4 to 2.2%. So that has raised the possibility that the Fed could possibly slow the pace of rate increases in the coming months if incoming data suggests that rising inflation isn't a threat, and that could lead to that would be positive for risk sentiment globally, but it would mean a weaker US dollar. Taking a look at now what's happening in emerging market currencies, the Turkish lira, we can see there surging to 2.5-week highs. And it actually briefly USD Turkish lira briefly fell below the key 6 level as it got a major boost from the Turkish central bank yesterday, which raised interest rates to 24%. That was higher than consensus forecasts of 22%. So the Turkish lira firming that boosted other EM currencies such as the South African rand, the Mexican peso, and the Indian rupee. On top of that, we've got some positive developments with regards to US-China trade talks after the US administration yesterday invited, or rather on Wednesday, invited Chinese officials to hold a fresh round of trade talks. Though we did get a tweet yesterday from President Trump saying that we are under no pressure to make a deal with China. So that did take the shine off a little bit, but overall market sentiment has remained positive since those reports first came out. Taking a quick look at the euro, we can see the single currency is benefiting from the weaker dollar. It's risen to a two-week high 1.1740 and 14, currently trading just off those highs. So yesterday, as expected, the ECB meeting was a non-event, but the euro did nevertheless get a slight boost from remarks by Mario Draghi, who said that despite the risks from trade tensions and what's happening in emerging markets, that the risks to the Eurozone growth are broadly balanced, and he was encouraged by signs that employment in the euro area is rising, and so is wage growth. And he still said that despite the slowdown, Eurozone growth is above potential, and he does expect underlying inflation to recover over the next year. So that's been that's added extra support to the euro dollar pair. And looking at the euro economic calendar, we can see we did have some numbers out of China which were overall above expectations. The main focus though later on will be US retail sales. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.